Namaste, greetings. Welcome to our webinar. My name is Nayaswami Devarshi. Let's begin with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswarji, beloved Guru, Paramhansa Yogananda Ji, saints of all religions, we humbly bow at thy feet. Divine Mother, free us from all attachments to this little self, to this little body, all our petty thoughts and desires. Help us to turn that desire upwards in devotional offering for thee and to thee. We are yours. Free us from all limitation. Bring us home. Each week we take a topic from Swami Kriyananda's book, Affirmations for Self-Healing. And today's topic is non-attachment. And we'll do a short reading about the topic, and then an affirmation and a prayer. So what Swamiji writes on non-attachment: nothing is ours. No one belongs to us. Mentally, we should make a bonfire of our love for God and cast into it all attachments, all desires, all hopes and disappointments. It helps mentally to examine one's heart every evening and liberate it anew of all desires. Pluck out from your heart any burrs of new attachments that you find clinging there. Cast them joyfully into the fire of devotion. Pray to God energetically. I destroy all my attachments. They are no longer mine, Lord. I am free in thee. And let's affirm together, first out loud, and then more and more quietly. Repeat after me. Nothing on earth can hold me. My soul, like a weightless balloon, soars upward through skies of eternal freedom. Nothing on earth can hold me. My soul, like a weightless balloon, soars upward through skies of eternal freedom. And more quietly, nothing on earth can hold me. My soul, like a weightless balloon, soars upward through skies of eternal freedom. And now even more quietly, taking it deep inside, nothing on earth can hold me. My soul, like a weightless balloon, soars upward through skies of eternal freedom. And now whispering, nothing on earth can hold me. My soul, like a weightless balloon, soars upward through skies of eternal freedom. And now mentally only offering it up to the superconsciousness at the point between the eyebrows. Nothing on earth can hold me. My soul, like a weightless balloon, soars upward through skies of eternal freedom. And now just mentally pray, I destroy all my attachments. They are no longer mine, Lord. I am free in thee. This topic of non-attachment is the way to inner freedom. and the attitude of non-attachment. And it can be a practice, it should be a practice that we do every day. Swamiji often recommended when you go to sleep at night to offer everything back to God. And one time he recommended strongly, as he does in this reading, to offer everything into a bonfire. All your thoughts, your desires, your worries, your job, everything that ties you to this world. And they'll be there in the morning, but you'll sleep more freely, but also you will develop the attitude of being in freedom and letting go of all these things. And when you practice this regularly, over time, you start to become more and more free. And then you will find ultimately, and I find this a very good practice, I'll sometimes when I go to sleep at night, I'll just imagine that I'm not going to wake up in the morning. I will leave the body during the night. And I don't want anything holding me back and bringing me back. And so I say, Lord, this world is your dream. Tonight I may finish it, and I let go of everything, which I will ultimately have to do anyways. So why not do it willingly and in a way of giving rather than having it pulled from me? And I wake up every morning so far, the next morning, but I wake up with a greater and deeper sense of freedom. And it's good practice for when we leave this earth. Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says that the thought, and really more importantly, the attitude and consciousness of bondage or attachment or freedom or God that we have at the time of our death determines our next lifetime, or hopefully we don't have a next lifetime. We go completely back into the divine. And so this attitude of working towards this is very important. And if you do it every night, you will find that when that time comes, you will be very, very inwardly free. My wife, she passed away about 10 years ago. And one of the last things she said to me was, detach yourself, detach yourself. She could see that I was emotionally caught up in her leaving the body, and the doctors had given her just a few weeks to live. And she was free at that point. She had lived a full life. She had fought the battle of disease that for 10 years and succeeded and overcome many, many obstacles and many limitations and fears. And she was free at this point. And it was time for her to go home. And she just very simply said, detach yourself. And then later on, just a few days before she passed, she just looked at me because I was concerned that more than anything that she'd be completely free. And she just looked at me and she said, don't worry, I'm free. Don't worry about me, I'm free. And she was not prone to overstatement. And you could see that she was free in God. And because she had lived her life well, and she had lived her life in service to God, and she didn't achieve perfection while doing that in her life, it was a practice. But then by practicing it through life, at the end, I think God and the Guru say, okay, you have fought the battle of inner freedom, self-offering, self-giving, and what you have given, we will take the rest. If there's anything holding you back, we'll take the rest. This is divine grace, which is that when we make our best effort through life, they will be there to pick us up at the end, to lift us up, to, I also think, free us from any last limitations or bondages that might hold us back. And so this is the way, especially to divine freedom, which is non-attachment. Now, non-attachment doesn't mean that we become cold to everything. I get this question too often, actually, where we talk about having no desires, and then we talk about having desire for God. And it's usually a very intellectual type of question. Well, if we're not supposed to have desires, then isn't desire for God another desire? And the fact is that as long as we are here in a body, we have karma and we have desires in the heart. They're there no matter until you're fully liberated. And so the way to freedom is to turn that desire upwards, to take it from the desires for things of this world, personal desires, attachments, the senses, which is just an agitated, restless feeling of the heart that's going outward or downward into the senses. And we are offering that desire upwards. And you can't kill that energy of longing and yearning. You can only lift it up and transmute it from little human desire and attachment to the desire for the divine. And Yoganandaji said that the desire for God, that is the desire that ends all desires. And so that is the way to freedom. And when we have these attachments and these little things, just keep trying to offer it upwards in meditation and prayer every day. This is why it's very important to have a daily practice of meditation and prayer. And then this practice of going to sleep at night. Do this tonight when you go to sleep. As you're lying down and drifting into subconsciousness, try to make that the very last feelings that you have as you drift into subconsciousness. So often, as we're falling asleep, we worry and we have anxiety and we're thinking about this and that, but just simply have this pure childlike attitude. I was born as a child. I came into this earth as a child without bondage, without limitation. And now I'm a child again, offering myself to you, Lord, or to Divine Mother, back to your grace, into your light, and free me. And so practice this really regularly. You'll find that at that time, when what Swami Kriyananda called it the final exam, which is death, it's an exam of how we lived our life. And it's not an exam that you can cram for at the last minute very easily. I suppose some people can get away with that. But really, it's an exam to see how we lived our life. And if you do these things every day, you will find an amazing amount of freedom comes again through this combination of self-effort and divine grace. So non-attachment also is it's not a matter of not having possessions, because sometimes people think that by renouncing outwardly that they will become free. But that's just it's almost a sort of an outward, but even materialistic approach, because attachment to material things, there's a bondage there, but so is repulsion, and just pushing it away and repressing it really is also a way of being attached. Yoganandaji once met a homeless person who was very disheveled, and his clothing was just all rags and torn. And Master said to him, "Why do you dress like that?" And actually, the man wasn't poor. He just was into living a chaotic, disheveled life. And Master said, "Why do you dress like that? You don't need to dress like that. You aren't that poor." And the man proudly said, "I'm a renunciate." And Yoganandaji said, "On the contrary, you are attached all over again, this time to disorder." And so outward renunciation actually can develop spiritual pride. I've seen this. I've seen this a number of times, having spent time with many people over the years. People think that by just living outwardly austerely, that they suddenly become holy and spiritual, more spiritual than the householder, maybe that they are judging at the same time. And that judgment itself is desire, attachment, spiritual pride, attachment to one's own falsely perceived spiritual attainments. And so practice this simplicity and an inward non-attachment. It's not outward. In fact, many wealthy people, Paramahansa Yogananda's most advanced disciple, Rajarshi Janakananda, he was a great soul. He was a multimillionaire and a very wealthy person, but Yoganandaji said he was fully liberated in the end. And he wasn't attached to what he had. He was generous, he was giving. There's also the story of King Janaka. And King Janaka, he was a great sage, but he was also a lord of a realm and had beautiful palace and all these things. And so the young Shukdev, who was the son of Vyasa, he went to go find his guru. And his father told him that he should go see King Janaka and become his disciple. And so he went to King Janaka, and young Shukdev was a renunciate, still learning how to be a renunciate. And so he went to this king, and all he had was this little bundle of holy spiritual books, which he prized very highly. And he went to Shukdev and sat at his feet, or to Janaka, and Janaka began giving a discourse on spirituality and on non-attachment. And young Shukdev looked around and saw this palace and all this wealth, and he thought, this man is very worldly. He's the one who's attached. How can he be a spiritual teacher? And then they started smelling some smoke in the air. And Shukdev looked out, and there was a fire outside on the palace grounds. And Janaka kept sharing his teachings and his discourse. And the fire started spreading, and it actually started spreading into the area they were, and it started catching the building that they were in on fire. It started even coming into the room they were in. And King Janaka was just completely calm, at ease, completely ignoring this fire that was coming and threatening their lives. And finally, the fire came into the very room they were in. And young Shukdev grabbed his books and started protecting them and getting ready to run and flee for his life. And finally, Janaka just said, "What is this? You're more attached to those books than I am to this whole palace." And then Janaka made this illusion of the fire completely vanish because he was a great master. And so he said to this young monk, Shukdev, he said, "The important thing is not what you possess, but whether you are attached to it." And so, I have a laptop and a computer that's, quote, mine, and I need it to serve God. And at times, at my life at Ananda, I've owned an automobile because it drags my body all over the United States to serve the Guru and to share his teachings. And so try to see all of these things that you, quote, possess as belonging to God, as things that are simply God's that were given to you to help serve others, to live a more effective or efficient life. And it doesn't mean that we can't enjoy little things, a painting or things like that, but do that also with God. And you'll find that those who have sort of an indifferent attitude, too indifferent in terms of outward attachment, they also start to lose this quality of the heart, of this yearning to give themselves to God, and this yearning and this desire for God. And so it's sort of a balancing act that we must have. So it's an inward attachment that we're trying to develop, not an outward one. One of the beautiful things about non-attachment that I've been learning, perhaps more and more recently for some reason, is that non-attachment and having no desire for a particular outcome for some decision that you're about to make, it actually really helps your intuition be more clear. And it also helps you to be more receptive to the guidance and the direction of the divine. And just in certain decisions that I've made in the last few years, important decisions, I have found that initially when I was asking for advice and guidance in meditation, that part of me was kind of wishing that God would tell me, yeah, go in this direction, because I wanted that direction a little bit, or I thought that would be nicer or better or something. But I find when I let that go completely and I offer it to God and say, Lord, I'll do whatever you want. And it doesn't matter if it's the more difficult direction or an extremely challenging direction. I'll do whatever you ask me to do. And when I have that attitude, what I've discovered is two things. One, because my heart is calm, my intuition is much more clear. And this is what Yoganandaji defined intuition as: calm, still feeling of the heart. But when the heart is calm, then we have a much higher sort of a superconscious level of tuning in and understanding truth, understanding what is the right course of action to take. So that happens because the heart is calm. Intuition, Yoganandaji said, also is the power to know God. He said when we go deep in meditation and have a divine experience. It's not done with the mind or the thoughts. It's actually done with the intuitive feeling and awareness of the heart. This is why he said that the heart is the receiving station of a radio, like receiving God, and the spiritual eye is where we direct prayers and requests to God, but the heart is where we feel and receive. God is feeling, and that feeling awareness comes in the heart. And so it's very important to develop non-attachment, because when we have attachments and desires for an outcome of a particular decision, for example, then there is some restlessness or agitation of the heart that will cloud our decision making. So practice this and work on this, and you'll find that intuition develops, clarity of mind develops, because when the heart is agitated and the emotions are agitated, then the mind also gets very clouded and agitated. You see this with people who are caught under the sway of really intense emotions, that they act in ways that are completely irrational and do things that are completely against their own good, even, and the good of others, because they get so caught up in anger or fear or negative emotions. And so try to meditate every day. Again, try to go to bed every night, offering these things back to God. And again, in the end, all these things will have to go away, and all these things will have to be either taken from us, or better yet, if we give all these things back to God. There's a cartoon that's always been one of my favorites. It's of the cat Garfield, who's I think most people know about Garfield the cat in these cartoons. And there's a cartoon showing Garfield, and he's behind a couch, and you're watching the back of the couch, and Garfield has his claws extended fully, and he's just slid down the back of the couch, and he has completely shredded the upholstery on the couch with his claws, and then he's down on the ground with those claws upraised. And the caption is him saying, "Everything I let go of has claw marks on it." And it's just a way of saying that everything that I'm attached to, when it's taken away from me, I leave claw marks on it because I'm holding onto it so tightly. And so when it comes time for the great final exam to leave this body, don't leave claw marks on anything by not holding on to it, because everything's going to have to get taken away from us. And if we can give everything to God and be non-attached, then we become free at that moment. But if we try to hold on, it's still going to be taken away from us, but we are going to be attached in the heart, and we're going to have to come back, reincarnate again and again and again, just as we have to be here now. And even now, determine that I'm going to be free by the end of this lifetime through these attitudes of non-attachment, of self-offering and giving of myself to God, to the Guru, in meditation, in prayer, and in all the moments of the day that I can remember that, and especially when I fall asleep at night. So now we're going to conclude again with the affirmation. And this time what we'll do is that we're going to do the affirmation in different levels of awareness and consciousness. And we'll first do it very loudly to really get the attention of our conscious mind. We'll do the affirmation a few times that way. Then more quietly to tune into the meaning of the words. Then in a whisper to take that meaning into our subconscious and into feeling level. Then silently to even take it more deeply inside. And then finally silently again with aspiration, offering it up to the point between the eyebrows. So let's affirm together now. First, loudly, grabbing the attention of our conscious mind. Nothing on earth can hold me. My soul, like a weightless balloon, soars upward through skies of eternal freedom. Nothing on earth can hold me. My soul, like a weightless balloon, soars upward through skies of eternal freedom. Nothing on earth can hold me. My soul, like a weightless balloon, soars upward through skies of eternal freedom. Now quietly to absorb the meaning of the words, nothing on earth can hold me. My soul, like a weightless balloon, soars upward through skies of eternal freedom. Again, quietly, nothing on earth can hold me. My soul, like a weightless balloon, soars upward through skies of eternal freedom. Again, quietly, nothing on earth can hold me. My soul, like a weightless balloon, soars upward through skies of eternal freedom. Now in a whisper, taking it in more deeply, nothing on earth can hold me. My soul, like a weightless balloon, soars upward through skies of eternal freedom. Nothing on earth can hold me. My soul, like a weightless balloon, soars upward through skies of eternal freedom. Nothing on earth can hold me. My soul, like a weightless balloon, soars upward through skies of eternal freedom. And now silently, taking this very deeply inside, on a vibrational level, on the meaning level. Nothing on earth can hold me. My soul, like a weightless balloon, soars upward through skies of eternal freedom. Nothing on earth can hold me. My soul, like a weightless balloon, soars upward through skies of eternal freedom. And now, still silently again, but with rising aspiration, offering this to the point between the eyebrows up the spine. Nothing on earth can hold me. My soul, like a weightless balloon, soars upward through skies of eternal freedom. Nothing on earth can hold me. My soul, like a weightless balloon, soars upward through skies of eternal freedom. Nothing on earth can hold me. My soul, like a weightless balloon, soars upward through skies of eternal freedom. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So if you can, practice this every night for this next week as you're going to sleep. Do the affirmation throughout the week if you can. Try to have fun with being non-attached, and don't be attached to being non-attached, but just see this as a interesting and enjoyable game of ultimately taking our desires and uplifting it and turning it into a desire for God and to offer ourselves and give ourselves to God. The way to overcome attachment is to give ultimately and to give ourselves especially to the divine. So may the blessings of the masters of God be with you as you offer yourself in freedom this week and become ultimately free.